What's good, family? It's your boy Old Soul Jamie back with another video. Let's get into it. Today's video is about the illusion of death. Yeah, we about to get deep. Y'all know me. I love to get deep. So what inspired me to make this video, right? Just yesterday, somebody had DM'd me. They asked me if I ever tried DMT. And I told them I haven't, but I have a pretty good idea of why they asked me that. They told me the reason why they asked me was because they had a near-death experience, right? This is what the person was telling me in my messages. They had a near-death experience, and the experience that they had, a lot of what I talk about was exactly what they were experiencing. Now, this was no surprise to me because I know what I'm talking about is some real game. You know what I'm saying? Not even game. Like, I know what I'm talking about is the real deal. You know what I'm saying? So this wasn't a surprise to me. But he also has said a lot of people who describe their experiences after they take DMT also aligns with his near-death experience. And I've spoken of DMT in the past, especially on my TikTok, because before this guy even messaged me, I've heard stories about what it's like or people's experiences on DMT. And it sounds a lot like certain experiences you could have without taking the psychedelic, right? Now, if you guys ever heard of Joe Rogan, he has one of the most popular podcasts out right now. He speaks a lot, or he has spoken a lot about his experiences with DMT and his experiences with other psychedelics, and how he believes how in ancient times people actually use psychedelics to advance civilization. And I've also showed in one of my prior, I forget which video it was, but there was a video where I showed how active your brain is on a normal basis and how active your brain is when you're on psychedelics. See, the reason why a lot of people or the masses are so afraid or they look down on psychedelics is because of their conditioning. Now, we all know drugs like crack, heroin, pills like Xanax, Perks, like a lot of these things can ruin your life. They're addictive, they're bad for you, all these types of things. And we know these are drugs, and we know that drugs, when you abuse drugs, there's a bad result that comes from that. What they don't teach you about psychedelics is that this is actually that ancients used to do. That's why they have retreats. You can go on a retreat and spiritual centers and things like that where they have you take ayahuasca and other type of psychedelics. They have gurus and monks, that shamans that guide you through these practices, because these are ancient practices that past civilizations used to use, and a lot of what people's culture is based around of their ideas came from that. So no, I have never tried DMT before, but because of what I've heard from it and because of my natural experiences, I definitely want to try it in the future. Absolutely. I have to see what that's like, especially when people tell me that the things I talk about align right with the experience. Now, let me tell y'all why I'm not surprised that it does. Y'all ever heard of sleep is the cousin of death? Let me tie this all together for y'all. The way that people are able to take this drug, this psychedelic DMT, is because a toad produces that same substance that people take from the toad and they inhale it, right? Or I don't even know, I think you smoke it, or I don't even know how you take it. You either smoke it, I'm pretty sure you smoke it based on the videos I've seen, but anybody, if I'm wrong, don't come at me because I'm not sure. That's besides the point. So it comes from a toad. This is how people take it as a psychedelic. But look this up. DMT is short for dimethyltryptamine. I've spoke about this briefly in the recently, but dimethyltryptamine, that chemical seeps out through the pineal gland. The pineal gland is famously known as the third eye, right? Let me tie this all together for you though. So you can take a drug, a psychedelic, that based on people's set experiences, the most common thing you hear is that they get blasted off to a different dimension. They completely leave this realm immediately. Immediately. They shoot off to a different dimension. They're taking DMT, something that your body naturally produces. When you go to sleep at night, a little bit seeks out. What is happening when we're sleeping? Whether you remember it or not, you're dreaming. Oh wait, but how is sleep the cousin of death? Because this same substance that is leaking out when you're dreaming, sleeping is preparing for death. The dream world is a sneak peek of what the afterlife can be like for you, or the next life that you go to. Because when you die, use your common sense here, guys. There's no other explanation for it. When you die, that same substance comes out of your pineal gland. Sleep is the cousin of death, because every night that you go to sleep, you are preparing for death. And this is why death is an illusion. You get a sneak peek of it every single day. When really what you're doing, you're leaving the experience. Your body, the reason why our bodies get tired, we need to go to sleep, we need to shut down, we need to put the vehicle in rest mode and go to another realm while our vehicle is resting. So we can come back when the vehicle is fully rested, or rested enough to keep going. Why do you think when you become more conscious, more self-aware, more present, when you practice these things and you do certain practices to help you do that, you become more aware and lucid in your dreams, and your dreams start to feel more real as this? That's because your consciousness level, that's a reflection of the consciousness level that you're on. When you are on a lower consciousness level, that version of you is asleep. The version of you, right? Put it like this. Let me put it to you like this. And I'm giving y'all some real game right now, bro. Like, don't sleep on the game I'm giving you. No pun intended. The pun was intended in the video I made about lucid dreaming, but when I said don't sleep on lucid dreaming, but no pun intended there. Anyway, really listen to what I'm saying right now. You've heard before that this is the 3D physical dimension. The dream world is the 4th dimension. The more conscious and the more you raise your awareness, the more lucid you become in your dreams. The more you start to remember your dreams, the more that you resonate or are aware of that dimension that you're in. Consciousness, there's levels to consciousness, right? The 4th dimension, the more you raise your consciousness, the more aware or the more real that becomes, right? If you're on a 3D spectrum, your consciousness is not higher enough for that full experience. So why, when we raise our consciousness more, the lucid dream world, the same thing that happens when you release DMT, you become more conscious of. The same place you go when you release DMT. Now, we still have to come back to the bodies. We still are in the human experience. So obviously, you're not fully conscious to wake up in the part of your consciousness that's in a higher dimension. Are you following what I'm saying right now? Now, you also have heard, some of you may have heard, some of you may have not, but they also say that the 5th dimension is a higher dimension above the 4th dimension. So the 4th dimension is described as the dream world, where you go to sleep at night, and also where it's another dimension that you possibly could go to when you pass away, depending on what level of consciousness you're already on, or how much light, how high your vibration is, depending, right? It is described to be just like heaven. This is why they say you have to have a 5th dimensional consciousness in order to get there, to get to that dimension. Now, what death is the death of your experience in a 3rd dimensional world. In the 3rd dimension, the dream world is also like a spirit world. It is the 4th dimension. So death is an illusion, because nothing is really dying. Death is a transition. So don't misinterpret when I say death is an illusion as in when people die, they're not actually dying. No, that's not what I mean. Yes, obviously, the character, the role that they're playing, that character is over with. Your time as that person is done. But the soul, right, when we die, we release DMT just like when we're going to sleep. Where do you think where your consciousness is going? If you dream, if your 3rd eye, what are the chances, bro? If your 3rd eye releases DMT when you dream, and conscious practices, spiritual practices help you be more conscious in the dream state, which meaning you are tapping more into your higher dimensional self, your higher plane of existence, right? What do you think is happening when you die and it also releases DMT? You're going to a different dimension. This is why you hear that you are an immortal spiritual being living a temporary human experience. Death is a transitional process. Your soul is going through different human, not even just human, different life forms, different dimensions. Do you really think if everything in this world is possible to exist, why would the creator stop right here? Only create this dimension, this world. Maybe this is the simulation or the experience that you chose to come into. And this experience is supposed to be this experience. Do you really think that it's as simple as I'm born as a human, I die and go to heaven or hell and live eternity there? Do you think that's all there is? This world, heaven and hell? It's impossible. Literally. Like, it doesn't even make any sense why that would be true. That's what you were told. This is why I preach so much about certain practices that help you tap into your soul and remember who you are, because all this info is within you. And I told somebody this recently. They were talking about how somebody told them that all this, the info that we could find on these things, or this deep knowledge, is within us already. We don't need videos or books. It is within you already, but it's not that easy to tap into that part of you. When you literally came into a world and experienced the Matrix. You literally came into a dimension where everything around you is made to keep you from that. You don't know how to. You don't remember who you are. So that's why they say we only use a certain percentage of our DNA and we only use a certain percentage of our brain. That's us not tapping in to our full potential, our full power. That percentage of your brain is just literally your consciousness. What you're able to perceive, all is in the mind. The universe is within you. So you being able to experience higher dimensions is literally based on the consciousness level that you're on. This is why we talk about the higher self. It's just you on a higher dimension. You have to be able to build the consciousness to be able to tap in to that version of yourself, to experience it. But that version of you is your intuition while you're here. It can help guide you. But you have to remember, this is why they say this world is an illusion. It's not real. It's meant to feel real though. The experience is real. That's what's real. But the world itself is temporary. But you are forever. But that's all I gotta say for today, y'all. Make sure you like and subscribe. I love y'all.